has been a long time since I've played a Monster Hunter game. Back in the day, I played the PSP version like there was no tomorrow. Slaying monsters back then in 480 by 272 resolution was just incredible. Now it's even bigger and better and in HD. You know, it's like the developers actually listened to feedback and used their brains to improve on what didn't work so well before. There are improvements growing out of improvements, just like a fungus. All of these new features, the attention to detail, and the refined mechanics easily make the latest Monster Hunter my favourite in the series. It's really so easy to recommend Monster Hunter World to just about every gamer out there, so go give it a shot. Unlike most of the others in the series, Monster Hunter World progresses through a story. You start off by creating your hunter through a pretty detailed character creation system. And if I can teach you one thing about this game, let it be the eyebrows. It is critically important to create a hunter with impeccable eyebrows. Anyhow, your hunter is part of the 5th Fleet who's been summoned to provide more support in establishing the new world. Unfortunately, on your way you get kinda owned by a massive rock in the ocean. Oh wait, that's actually a dragon. An elder dragon. The whole story basically involves learning more about this giant rock-looking dragon thingy and along the way, the new world. When you think about it, you're actually just one giant asshole. I mean, you are the one invading new lands and mindlessly slaughtering countless monsters who all have families, hopes and dreams of their own. Putting this inhumane hunting culture aside, the plot is far from spectacular, but it's a nice way to introduce new monsters and new mechanics. To be honest, at times it actually did get in the way of teaming up with my mates on story missions, as you actually have to view cutscenes before you can join a party. But yeah, who cares about the story? Let's talk about the gameplay. Essentially, Monster Hunter World is all about taking on quests to kill monsters and using those materials to upgrade your equipment, which will allow you to take on even stronger monsters. Rinse and repeat. This never-ending loop, it really doesn't sound good in theory until you play the game. You basically start off your hunt by tracking down your target by examining footprints around the place. This is a great alternative to simply searching every section of the map in hope of randomly running into them. The fights themselves are better than they've ever been. Learning each monster's attack patterns and weak points are crucial to claiming victory. You can also expect a large variety of different monsters to face, of new and old. I had a personal grudge against the Rathalos from the previous game, so it was great to kick his ass all over again. And one thing that just reeks of epic is the monster brawls. There are usually 3 large monsters roaming the map at any given time, and naturally their paths are gonna cross. When they do, it is just awesome sitting back and watching them just beat the shit out of each other. With the massive scope that Monster Hunter World presents us, I was a little surprised that there were only half a dozen main locations to explore. The good news is that they are all littered with detail and personality. Is it even possible for an environment to have personality? Well, these ones definitely do. Just look at them. There is detail around every single corner, and I think that the fact that they span vertically really gives a sense of realism, even if I spent loads of time getting myself completely lost. The developers are starting to release new monsters through free DLC, so I'm hoping new regions will be following this. When you're not out there being a homewrecker, you'll be in town, and there is a load of things that you can do to help make your job as a hunter easier. The main focus will no doubt be upgrading your equipment. There are a heap of different weapon types, from dual swords to freaking gun blades. Experimenting with different weapons really helps keep the game fresh, as each offer completely different ways to slay the beasts. For instance, you can slice open innocent herbivores with short but deadly daggers, or squash the skulls of cute baby lizards with giant hammers. Once again, you're such an ass. Just like the previous games, the upgrading of your weapons is pretty deep. There are loads of different options for each weapon type and loads of different factors you'll need to consider, such as the weapon's element and the sharpness. Getting the required materials for your next big upgrade was one of the biggest driving forces that kept me slaying beast after beast after beast. For me, one of the best parts of Monster Hunter World was teaming up with my mates. My main man Abyss was absolute shit at this game. I just had to mention that to see if he's being a good friend and watching this review. Anyway, when another player jumps into battle, the monster's stats are scaled, and this is good as it provides more of a challenge. However, this scaling stops when there are 3 or 4 people in your party, and this turns most fights into an absolute slaughter, as if you weren't already an asshole. I remember in the previous game, slaying monsters on my own and finally receiving a rare item for an upgrade was just so satisfying. Now, I can just join 3 other hunters who are probably 50 ranks higher than me and get my required materials in about 5 minutes. It kinda kills the glory. On the topic of challenge, the fact is that Monster Hunter World has made countless quality of life improvements, and these actually make it a better game. However, most of these also make the game a lot easier, such as essentially having unlimited healing items per round. And yeah, I know that making the game accessible to the general audience is important, after all it is the best-selling game in Capcom history, but that insane level of satisfaction I had in the past just wasn't there. And now this probably just sounds like an old man rambling. Back in my day, monsters were a bitch to slay, but it's probably the only criticism I had with this near-perfect game. Slaying giant monsters with oversized weapons can never be a bad thing. The Monster Hunter series has been doing it right for nearly 15 years now, and the latest installment, it's as good as it gets. The game looks beautiful, from the breathtaking regions to the creatures that you slay to my pretty little eyebrows. I'm so glad we can experience this with the power of modern consoles. The fight is where the fun truly lies. Battling giant creatures to the death, learning their attack patterns and finding the materials you need for the next upgrade is where it's at. The variety of weapons also help keep things fresh. And the best part is, you can do it all with your mates. Which brings me to perhaps my only slight criticism, the fact that it's way too easy to farm materials with 3 other allies. But in the end, Monster Hunter World is a must play, assuming you can live with yourself after basically invading a peaceful land and just killing things so you can upgrade your gear. Jerks. This was Hellfire RPGs, thanks for watching. If you like this, hit like, subscribe and check out my Facebook page. See you next time.